Hey mathematicians, so I'm going to work the first few problems for you on this side as well. And because the r plus 5 and the r plus 7, this isn't a very mathy term, but we're going to call them trapped because you can see that like the r plus 5 is stuck here on top of that 5 and the r plus 7 is stuck on top of that 2. We need to cancel out both dividing by 5 and dividing by 2. So we're going to cancel that dividing by 5 and we're going to cancel the dividing by 2, but we're going to do it in like 2 separate parts. And I think that'll be a little bit more clear once you see, once I show you. So I'm going to rewrite the problem down here where I have a little bit more space. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel dividing by 5 and of course I need to do that by multiplying by 5. And for now, I'm just going to write that out to the side. And don't forget that, of course, if you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other side. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5 as well. Don't worry, we're going to do something with it in just a minute. But first, I'm going to also go ahead and cancel out dividing by 2. What's the opposite of dividing by 2? Of course, that is multiplying by 2, right? So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides as well. So I'm going to cross out anything that cancels now. So what I mean by that is this 5 and that 5, because those are inverses of each other, they're going to cancel each other out because one's dividing and one's multiplying. And then here, that 2, because I'm dividing by 2 and multiplying by 2, those are going to cancel each other out as well. So after I've canceled everything out, then I need to take a look at what is left over. So because I had that 2 and the r plus 5, I brought down the 2 and the r plus 5, and we're going to need to multiply those together in just a second. And because I had the 5 and the r plus 7, I did 5 and r plus 7. So I brought down everything that's left over. And the reason I decided to put these in parentheses, even though they weren't in the original problem, is because I have to multiply that 2 by both the r and the 5 in a second. So it's just handy for me, I feel like, to put parentheses around it because it reminds me that I need to multiply the 2 by the r and the 5. And that's the same reason I put parentheses around the r plus 7, because I also needed to multiply the 5 by the r and the 7. So I just put parentheses around there to just kind of remind myself that all of that was going to need to be multiplied together. So now I'm going to distribute. So I'm not even going to write down these next steps because this is something we've been doing for a minute. So the first thing I'll need to do is distribute. So this will be 2r plus 10, and that's going to be equal to 5r plus 35. And so now we've got just a variable on both sides of the equal sign. So we've had this type of problem, you know, we've been doing these for a hot minute. So now I just need to get rid of one of the variables. So I'm going to subtract 2r from both sides because one of those variables has got to go. And so when I do that, those are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down that 10. 5r minus 2r is 3r plus 35. And to fully isolate the variable, I need to subtract 35 from both sides. So that leaves me with negative 25 is equal to 3r. Divide both sides by 3. And so I'm left with negative 25 over 3, because that is a fraction that does not simplify any more than it already is. So our final solution is negative 25 over 3. Okay, so number 12, we've got the same thing happening that was happening in the last one. So this x plus 5 and x minus 5 are like trapped above the 7 and the 5. So the first thing we're going to need to do is cancel that 7 and the 5. So I'm going to do the 7 first. How do you cancel out dividing by 7? You're going to multiply, and I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. I also need to cancel out dividing by 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So let's cancel everything that will cancel. So the 7s will cancel, and those 5s will cancel. So I'm going to bring down everything else that I have left. So I've got the 5 and the x plus 5. So I'm going to do 5 and x plus 5. And again, I'm going to put it in parentheses just to remind myself that that 5 needs to be multiplied by both the x and the 5. And then I've got over here, I've got the 7 and the x minus 5. So I'm going to bring that down. And now I'm just going to do what we've been doing for a while. I'm going to distribute. So that'll be 5x plus 25. And then I'm going to distribute over here. So 7x minus 35. I'm going to choose a variable to eliminate. I'm going to get rid of that minus 5. I'm going to get rid of that 5x with a minus 5x. That's going to cancel. Leave me with 25. I did it on one side, so I have to do it on the other side as well. So I subtracted that 5x. So now, I just realized that looks like a z. So now we're just going to do what we did before. I'm going to isolate the variable all the way. First, I'm going to add 35 to both sides. So now that I added 35 to both sides, so that's going to leave me with 60. Those cancel. I'm going to bring down that 2x, divide both sides by 2. 30 is equal to x. So your solution for number 12 is going to be 30.